from this?
Yes, I can. No problem.
Okay. Perfect. Dude, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to finally make this happen.
Yeah, man. 100%.
Oh, there we go. And I'm even more excited now that I know you love South Park.
Yeah, man. The South Park Razor.
Did you watch the new special?
I haven't.
Oh, wow.
But I need to. I know.
I feel like you is like specifically and especially you're gonna love it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's on the list.
They're so smart.
They're the best. They're so funny.
They're the best, and they're so funny because they're so smart. I mean, the way they just make fun of everything is just like, it is just so smart and stupid at the same time that it's so good. I love them so much, and I'm so grateful for their existence.
I think that's like what makes it such a good gauge, right? Because it's super funny, but it also like you have to be smart to understand some of what they're saying in the undertones. And if people don't understand undertones, it's like a very easy like, oh yeah.
Yeah, people who don't find it funny or don't understand South Park is simply because they just don't understand what they're trying to make fun of. That's it. Because if you do, you'll love South Park immediately. You have no other option.
Exactly. Like the Game of Thrones episode, that whole series is one of my favorite pieces of television.
And the best part is like these two people, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, are the only ones on the planet that can do something like that.
Yeah, and they've been trying to get canceled forever, and it's just not happening.
Yeah, it can't happen. They're too iconic, I feel like.
For real, man. I mean, even like, the Book of Mormon, that Broadway show that they wrote?
Yeah, I don't remember that episode, but yeah.
No. They wrote an actual Broadway play.
Oh, wow.
Called The Book of Mormon, and even that was I don't like Broadway, but I saw it, and even that was hilarious. It was
I love them so much. I've been watching their show since I was 10.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But also me too.
Yeah.
Since I was
exactly. Yeah. Well, TJ, let's get off of South Park and into the show. I just want for folks tuning into the episode who don't know who you are, if you can give us a little bit on who you are, what you're doing, and what got you to where you are today.
Sure. It's a big question. So without starting from the beginning, I've always been, I've lifted weights since I was 14. Grew up in an area where a lot of people lifted weights, which I feel like is like a weird thing, but I grew up in New York with a lot of Italian Americans, and it's a very like bravado, tough guy type of place where I grew up. And like my brother and I always joke that, when we moved out and went to college and stuff, we're like, oh, other people's dads aren't jacked. Like, what is this? But I say that because when you start lifting, supplements always come into the equation, right? Like I've been drinking protein shakes since I was in high school, and then in college I got into like aminos and different things and whatnot. Okay. I've always been into this sort of stuff. Younger, stupider me definitely dabbled with like song and things like that. No steroids, but definitely like took some of the stuff that was like in the gray area. And that's just always gotten me into like being into biohacking, I guess, quote unquote. I know it's a corny thing to say, but like experimenting and doing things. So the supplement space was always something I've been very interested in. And I've always been a big buyer of them. I always wanted to have a brand of my own. And then it's coming on 2 years now. I made the decision one day when I was on vacation that I wanted to start tweeting. And I started out tweeting actually about, like, I know this sounds really entitled to feel that I'm someone who can speak about this, but like social skills and speaking to other people and being a better friend and things of that nature.
Wow.
And I also am in sales, so there was a sales aspect to it, whatever. At the end of the day, a lot of people started talking to me about social anxiety. So if you take this culmination that I've just explained, and then you layer in the last bit of this, which is that I am very, very obviously an ADHD person in terms of like diagnosis and whatnot. Like I check all the boxes. It's funny, I know, but with that came me trying to self-supplement instead of taking Adderall and things of that nature. So I started trying all these different nootropics. I found a decent combo that worked for me. In case anyone's curious, it's L-theanine and Subroxy. That's what I take for focus. And they are 2 ingredients in my product, by the way.
Right.
Aroxylin A, which is the active ingredient in Suboxone, but that's semantics. And after taking them, I was like, oh, snap. Like, not only am I focusing, like, this really calms the monkey mind. This would be cool before I go out. And boom, combine it all together. The idea for B4 comes together. I decided to stop being a PUSSY and launch the company. I filed my LLC December 2022. I started pre-sale and testing demand in April of 23. Mm-hmm. First product landed in people's doors July 20th of 23.
Right.
And now we're coming on 1 year and sales are on the upward trajectory and there seems to be a product market fit. So here we are.
Yeah, I love that. It almost it seems like it was just like everything like fell together perfectly, kind of. I feel like.
Listen, nothing's perfect. It's messy.
Of course.
You know, you're just like, if anyone's listening to this and hasn't started a business yet, you just fall forwards the whole time. And as you fall, you just pick yourself up and figure it out and just keep falling. Like no one knows what they're doing unless they've done it 10 times before, right? Like your first time, you can't watch Hormozy videos and read books and prevent all the problems. Like it's just going to happen. You're going to make mistakes and you're going to be lacking in certain areas.
Right. So L-theanine and Suboxone was kind of the start for Ramp Health.
You can minimize it down to that. Yeah, those are the two neutral. I guess I don't know if L-theanine is considered nootropic, but those are the two compounds that I took in combination that gave.
So I'm curious, like, how did you come up with the full formula that exists today from those two?
There is a Twitter account named Bowtie Biohacker.
Right.
He is potentially the smartest person I've spoken to when it comes to compounds and the way that the body works. There's a few others, but he just is really, really good with exogenous compounds, right? Like if you have something that you want to enhance or something you want to optimize for, he is my most trusted resource. He's also a friend. Mm-hmm. So when I had the idea, it really came down to as simply as like, hey man, like I can get halfway there, but you know, if I pay you some money, can you really formulate this for me?
Oh, wow.
I paid him. He did some experimentation. We came up with the formula and lo and behold, it works.
So what is Ramp Health? What is B4? What's your product?
It's probably something I should have started with out of the gate. B4 is ironically named B4 because you take it before a social event, right? The purpose of it is not to emulate being drunk because nothing's going to emulate being drunk. Maybe we can make an argument that Phenibut is something that people can take, but I wouldn't recommend that. And it's relatively dangerous and addictive, but that's neither here nor there. The purpose is, why do we drink before we go somewhere, right? Like the whole purpose of it is it makes it easier to talk to girls or guys. It makes it easier to have awkward conversations or be less awkward. Makes it you more willing to dance and do whatever. It's like you're doing it to take the edge off. Yeah, there are people with alcoholism and there are some folks who just like drinking, sure. And I'm not here to tell you not to drink. But the purpose is there's a lot of situations where either you don't want to drink or you can't drink because it's not socially acceptable, but you still would want the edge taken off, like making a speech, like a sales call, some networking event in the middle of the day. So it was formulated to provide three things at one time. There's a mild stimulant in there that has a nootropic effect in Aerogerensis extract. So that provides almost, if people take it, the immediate effect that you feel, the upper is the Aerogerensis.
Okay. Aerogerensis. Okay.
Yeah. There's a few anti-anxiety elements, the L-theanine, lemon balm extract, emoxapine succinate. Which goes by it's sold by the name Mexidol and actually overseas is used RX to treat anxiety. So it's a very strong anti-anxiety. It also happens to have a secondary effect. There's a couple studies on this. I know that, I shouldn't speak in absolutes, but some studies have shown that it has some verbal fluency aspects to it as well. Wow. So it really blended nicely with that. And then there is Aroxylin A and agmatine sulfate. Aroxylin A is the active ingredient in Suboxone. So the original formula had Suboxone, but we were after the Aroxylin A effects anyway. So the pure Aroxylin A served two purposes. One, it helped with color because Suboxone is kind of like a brownish color and it made the liquid a little dark.
Okay.
And two,
that's smart.
it's a white powder, so with taste. Subroxy also was adding some weird taste. I made the decision to go with a drinking powder because nobody wants to take 7 pill serving, right, or 6 pills.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying,
Mhm.
Alfonso? And I care a lot about not being snake oil. I'm
Mm.
not saying my supplement is the best. I'm not,
No, I
but
understand.
I'm saying that I
Yeah.
care a lot about it doing what we say it does, and the formulation being the best formulation that you're going to find around, and that the ingredients are what I say they are, and the amounts are actually efficacious doses.
Mhm.
Because like, there's so many things out there that are like, oh, we have magnesium, potassium, all this. It's got 25 milligrams. What?
Yeah.
We're gonna,
So, yeah, so, like, creating this originally kind of like to fix your own not to fix your own issues, but to help you with the ADHD, correct?
yes.
Um, and falling into this, like, why did you decide to actually make it a product and sell it?
I've always had a desire to be my own boss and to be an entrepreneur. That's been something
Beautiful.
that's, I mean, I don't like, I know it sounds corny and like everyone says that. Like, I had the
No,
lemonade.
no.
I had the lemonade stand when I was younger. I sold
Mhm.
shoes in high school. Like, I
Yeah.
did all those things. And the thing is, I tried to fight against that and accept that I was just going to have a career. I still work in tech. I have a 9 to 5 that I do
Yeah.
remote. Um, but as I climbed to the levels that I'm at now, at a highly competitive job with really good pay and all that, it never went away. And I realized, like, I don't know, this isn't what I want as my end goal. My end goal
Mhm.
is I want something that I built myself, that I have full creative control over, to 0 to 1 something.
Yeah, beautiful, and it really is kinda like the first of its kind.
I would say so. There's some partial competitors,
Mhm.
but I would say that my product is the only product with the exclusive purpose that I've set it for,
Right.
and also that's formulated in a way, and it's the only one that's in a powdered drink. There are some that are in
Mm.
capsules, and there are some attempts at it that are like these mocktails with low ingredients that are like pre-made cans.
Mhm.
Um, to be honest, you know what the biggest competitor is? Do
Yeah.
you know? Do you know what kava extract is, or kava?
I don't know.
So it is. There's something called kava bars that are popping up everywhere, and it's essentially people are taking it because it makes you feel kind of drunkish. Uh,
Okay, I see what it is.
if you Google it, yeah, KAVA.
Mhm.
Um, so it has like an elevated mood and a little bit of well-being and contentment that it can produce. And like in Brooklyn and San Francisco and some of these places where people are doing like California sober, where they don't drink but they still like smoke weed and
Yeah.
do mushrooms. It's getting really popular in these places. So, I think mine could be an alternative to that. And I may eventually try to get into kava bars, but also I probably will create a kava product in the future as well, because it's so popular. But yeah, that's probably the main competitor, and also a really cool validation for the concept, right? Like, if all these people are opening
Right.
bars to go to and they want to chill and maybe they want to smoke a joint or take an edible and then drink some kava instead of alcohol, I get it.
How has B4 treated you personally?
Like, when I take it,
Yeah.
it's a really good question. So it affects me pretty well because I don't. Let me take a step back. The people who don't feel it are heavy stimulant users.
Okay.
So if you take Adderall every day, if you do a little nose beers, if you drink a lot of caffeine,
Right.
most won't feel it per se, but
It won't be as like, okay.
you
Why
won't,
would that be, by the way?
because of the ingredients, what the receptors they work on in the brain, right? Like
Okay.
Aroxylin A, for example, works on very similar receptors to like cocaine or Adderall. And I don't say
Okay.
that it's not drugs, right? Because
Yeah.
it doesn't have all the other stuff. There's no meth in it or anything. But in
Yeah.
terms of what it's doing, it's a very similar mechanism. So if that
Mhm.
groove is really greased and you're doing that all the time, it's not going to work in the same capacity, and you'll have to take more. So for me, it works because I don't do a lot of that. I describe the feeling as waking up from a good nap. That's how.
Wow. Do you take it every day or
No,
just for like special occasions?
no. I even talk about my transparency and caring about quality product. I recommend only 2 to 3 times a week on the on the labeling because I don't want to build a tolerance. You will build it. If you take it every day, you can. There's no danger to it, but you're going to need 2, 3, 4 in the future. To do that. So I'd rather be straightforward with it and be like, hey, I sell it in a 20 pack for a reason. A 20 pack lasts you a month. And if you follow that cadence, it'll remain effective for the most part.
It's also like a perfect product to take if you're going to go to a meeting you don't want to go. Right. I really want to try it.
Yeah, I'll send you some.
Yeah, perfect. What has formulating this product with Bowtied Biohacker taught you? Like, what has been like the biggest takeaway from that?
There's a lot smarter people than me in this world.
Wow.
No, I just I don't know how much our audiences cross over, and I know that you follow me on Twitter, but I think one of the hardest things that I've had to do over and over is be like, yeah, I'm an enthusiast. I'm in this space. I talk about this stuff. I'm not a guru. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I don't talk about these things like I am an expert. I have trusted people that I listen to, and I share what I'm doing and why I think some things are good. But at the end of the day, I'm not claiming to be and not trying to be someone who's an expert. I attribute it to, did Henry Ford know everything about engines and cars? No, he knew about how to grow a car business. And does the CEO know everything of Coca-Cola, know everything about formulating a drink? Probably not. He knows how to run the business. That's how I view it. I like the business. I care about the industry. I care about my product, and I know enough to speak about it, but I am not the scientist behind the scenes, and I have people a lot smarter than me that help with that.
Have you ever thought of creating something for lifting weights? Kind of like a similar product, but it doesn't really make you fall asleep.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a million of those, right? Like,
of course.
One of my biggest influences and people that I trust is Derek More Plates, More Dates. Everyone knows who that is.
Right.
And his formulations for all of his products are fucking elite. I can't formulate something better than Gorilla Mode, because the second I do, he's going to have something even better than that, because he's on the cutting edge of all this.
Right.
And I think that it's not to say that you can't make money in a crowded space by any
chance. Of course.
I do feel that's a little crowded.
Yeah, that was kind of like what I was about to say. If there's millions of those, it means like there's a big market for it.
Yeah. No, 100%. Like, when you drive down the highway, there's a Ford dealership, a Toyota dealership, a Nissan dealership. They're all on the same street, right? But it's a car. You can always make money in a crowded space if you innovate. In fact, it's proof that the space, there is money, like you said. But I think my strategy for Ramp Health and the company and future products, I want to create more B4s for other aspects of life. So, I use the tagline of B4 as a pre-workout for life, but let's get more niche, right? Like, let's maybe gaming, something that helps with hand-eye and focus and things of that nature. Maybe pickleball or golf or sex or things that people are doing all the time. There are ingredients and different formulations that we can come up with that will give you that prime state before that, that are super niche, that I want to go after. And I think there's a space for that.
Right. Besides like Bowtied Biohacker, being in this kind of like health and schizo area of Twitter, have you thought of anything? Or have you seen like a problem that maybe you'd like to attack?
Yeah, I have a few.
Yeah.
I think just energy levels and fatigue in general is one that I'm very interested in. Blue light exposure and things of that nature. There's a lot related to it that I'd like to go after. I don't want to play all my cards, but there's a few niche problems that I like.
Yeah, I love that. What do you want to do with Ramp right now? Where do you want to take it? I know you just mentioned going a little bit more niche, but yeah.
I mean, I'm a business owner. I want to be 100 millionaire, but in all reality, I just want to address specific problems. I want to be recognized as a company that puts out really good formulations and maybe compounds that folks haven't experienced before or seen before. I think to minimize it down, can we take all this niche biohacker information that's available on like these corners of the internet and make it available to package it in a way that it's available to regular everyday people and they can experience all the shit without, worrying and having to do the research themselves. Let us do the research for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just give you this thing that works.
Yeah. I feel like you should. I'm not like you should, but I feel something that would be really cool for B4 is to actually actually make experiments with the product with like large populations, not only to see that it actually works, but that you're actually really attacking the problem and you're giving like you're also educating besides selling.
Yeah,
right?
100%, dude. The content arm is probably one of our weakest arms that we can improve in. I mean, we have tens of thousands of customers, right? And the feedback, the negative feedback is very minimal. I would say like, 1 in 1,000, 1 in a few hundred have something negative to say. And it's usually when they say something negative is I didn't feel it. And, I have to resist saying, do you do cocaine? If that's the reason. But yeah, it's definitely something one of the goals for the future potentially is, maybe like the Muslim world, because before is not haram and it's not alcohol, but a lot of people in that area, want to go out and want to drink, but it goes
right.
So here's a way that maybe we can take the edge off and make you feel good before you go somewhere without breaking your religious ties.
How are you selling Ramp right now?
Exclusively online. So we're on Amazon and we have a Shopify store and a TikTok shop.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Okay. Why did you go for V2? Like, why did you make why did you rebrand?
People spoke. I listened. This is the feedback. People didn't like ashwagandha, and it also affected the taste in a very negative way. It had a lot of negative.
Oh, wow.
So I removed ashwagandha right off the bat. I upped the L-theanine dosage to compensate.
Mm-hmm.
They're not 1-to-1, but it worked out. I think it smoothed out the formula in general. The flavor thing that I was getting complaints about, I'm offering a drink, and if it doesn't taste good, it is what it is. I don't think it tasted bad, but people who don't take supplements, it was definitely an acquired taste.
Okay.
So I really, really cared about the flavor improving.
Mm-hmm.
So there's huge flavor improvements there. And then the branding, to be honest, was a little masculine. It was all black originally. Here, I'll show you. So I have some of the original package here. Let me grab them. This is what the original looked like. It was all black. And then this is what the new packaging looks like. So white base, more colorful and whatnot. I think it appeals to a larger mass audience in general, and gives more of the vibes that we're going for. It looks like a good time in a package, and that's what we were going for.
Right. Building with ADHD, building this this brand. What is it? I'm going to ask a similar question, but like, what has been the biggest takeaway with that, or what has it taught you most?
I don't work the same way other people work.
Okay.
I don't do 4-hour sprints of deep focus. I work in 10, 15, 20-minute blocks throughout my day.
Yeah.
I built the majority of this company between 9 p.m. and 12 a.m. every day because that's when I had alone time and that's when I wanted to do it. And, I would hammer out 2 or 3 tasks when I had a 20-minute break and then, do another one 2 hours later. And that's also, why there's if you go deep enough on the internet, there's a lot of arguments that, ADHD is a good inclination towards being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
A lot of entrepreneurs are neurodivergent in some way. I hate that word, but it's what's used.
Neurodivergent?
Yeah.
Why? Why do you hate it?
I hate whenever something goes mainstream and everyone's like, I have this thing.
Okay.
Like,
dude.
I don't think it's a negative. I think it's a positive. I think it's a superpower.
I went too fast with these questions, so I'm already at my last.
That's good.
But
I can keep going. I can talk all day.
Yeah, I'm sure you're like this one. What brings you much joy in life?
That's a big question.
Yeah.
It's a really big question. There's a few aspects of life. I have a 6-month-old son. I didn't realize prior to how much joy that would actually bring me. So just literally seeing my son's face, like when he's in the house and goes to sleep, I miss him after he goes to sleep. So my wife and my son But those are like the easy answers. So if we take the obvious like family and love for family to the side, because that's like the low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
I was a soccer player. There's few things in life I like more than sprinting onto a breakaway, onto a ball, running full speed and ripping a shot.
Hmm.
I like playing sports and competing a lot. Now building a business, I would say that creating too is something that now it doesn't feel like work ever because I love this shit.
Right. Yeah, that's beautiful. I was thinking about that last point you mentioned, which is creating. But I feel like I have nothing to add on that. That was very well said.
You're creating though, right? Like you have a podcast. You're creating.
Yeah,
You're so young, man. You're way ahead of the game. I'm 33 years old, and I didn't start creating until I was 31.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, it's just a goal of trying to put my energy out there instead of just like consuming. Right.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. I think that this is a good point that maybe I can get some things off my chest to any young folks that are listening to this that want to start. Right.
Sure.
There's a few paradigms that I feel like people have. First and foremost, the money you think you need and the time you think you need are, I don't want to say they're never going to be there, but like you're never going to be ready. So you might as well just start. Like, for example, my company cost a few tens of thousands to start, but I didn't have, there was no one standing there with their hand out that I had to pay all that money to in one lump sum. That was spread out over 6 months to a year of that money. So like you'll find a way to come up with it. Getting loans, personal loan from a family member, whatever, borrowing against your 401k, you can find the money.
Yeah.
There's always a way. If you're ambitious enough, you can find the money. And I know that maybe that sounds arrogant because people are in different socioeconomic situations, but like with the internet, you can find a way.
Absolutely.
Time, you only get less as you get older. Like if someone tries to tell me they don't have time, I have a 6-month-old son, I have a wife, I have a job, I have a house, I have a social life. Like shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
I go to the gym. Like you make time.
You make time for what you want. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I built this company from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. every night for the most part over the last year and a half. What are you doing in that time? Scrolling?
Yeah.
I would do half of my tasks while I was playing video games. Like you just figure it out and prioritize it. I think most of that is an easy way to cope with fear. There is a lot of fear. It's a scary fucking thing. Every is a roller coaster. Some days I'm like, I'm the fucking king of the world. I did 10,000 in sales today, and then I'll have one sale the whole day, and I'm like, oh my god, I suck. It's just how it goes.
Wow. Yeah, that was very well said, and I appreciate you adding that to the conversation.
Yeah, of course. It's just like start. Just
a really important message. Yeah. Yeah, and it's a really important message, especially now, because everything, like you said, is full of fear, and it's not a real fear. It's just like it's like almost, I want to say, like a societal pressure. That's why that fear exists. That's why you don't want to create. That you just don't want to be like, you just don't want to stop being like everyone else.
Yeah, I will say the inverse is though, not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone is meant to do this, and that's fine. But if you have the calling, if you're sitting there, there's really big urge to do it. Like
if you have the desire, you have the fucking desire. Get to yeah. I love that.
And if not, and you get a job based in San Francisco, New York City, Miami, Austin, whatever, you can get to 200-300K in a few years with the world is now with a career. So just pick something that pays enough and go towards it, right? You have either option and you can live a nice life no matter what.
Yeah, brother TJ, I made it way too quick, but that was a really, really nice
of course, man.
roll.
But quick, maybe it's good. Keep it short.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I really appreciated your time, your words. I appreciate you giving me time with you. I know you're really busy, and it means a lot for someone to speak with me in my age. I already told you this, but I mean, I just can't believe I get to do this. And yeah, I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, of course. Make sure once you get it out and whatnot, give me all the links so that I can share them on Twitter, and that'll hopefully lead to.
Yeah, of course. Let me actually I'm going to end the recording here.